Well, hello, hello, hello. Hey, it's Wednesday, so it's time for lunch with a musician. Not a musician. Did I say musician? Magician. I was looking up. I had this curiosity, and I was like, let me look up like what magic means to people because I've started using that word. It's sort of a word I've had in my being for a long time, and I've only been using it publicly or whatever you want to call it, right? Lately, and I love it. I love that word. I love that word. Um, I did an exercise a week or two ago. Oh, this fabulous woman, Jean Berry, and this is really interesting. Okay, this is a little aside, but I'm gonna go with it. She had us write down 21 words that um, made us feel happy, made us feel good, and I like do that. Take a minute and do that. And here's the thing: there's some interesting science and evidence and proof all behind it, but it has to do with the fact that it takes 2.1 seconds to shift your energy. And so you literally, if you're like this morning, I was a little, I don't know how to explain it, down, deflated maybe. I've been having a little cold or something. My daughter said, just admit you're sick, Mom. I'm like, no, it's just snotty stuff. and so and I was just tired, and that always gets me a little bit stressed. And something happened, and I was crabby and everything, um, and my energy was low. And to have it, and the thing, I don't know if you've ever had a day like that, and then it can just spiral out of control, right? It can either just say, bleh, meh, yeah, or it can really go downhill. And so I love this idea of using words. Use anything to lift your energy, to lift your vibe, to lift how you're feeling, right? Like whatever it takes. Pat your cat, go outside, have a glass of chocolate milk, think of a word that makes you feel happy, and just watch it all shift. And I'm really going off on a tangent here, but okay, but I'm going to keep going because here's if you have children or you have worked with children, I think that's one of the clearest examples to me. I know that I talk a lot about that, but um, for example, like if my kids had something in their schoolwork, homework, whatever they were working on at home, and they're getting really frustrated, and there are times that I can help, and there are times that I can't. For example, I cannot teach them their math, primarily because the way that math is taught now is not the way that it was taught 30, 40 years ago. So, when you have to show work and that kind of thing, like I can't show them how to show the steps because I don't know. I don't know. So there was no way that I could physically help them, and that can be one of the most frustrating things in the world as a parent, as a helper, as a teacher, as a carer, as whoever you are, if you're trying to help someone and to realize like you simply do not have the skills, the ability, the knowledge to help someone in that moment. It is a very wow, it can be one of the most, I think, uh, difficult feelings that I ever experienced. I just have to surrender to it. There's nothing else you can do. And so, in that, though, came a great and wonderful way that I learned to help, which is go outside, kid. Go outside. Go do something. Go play basketball. Go get a snack. Go take a break. Go sit with your dog. Whatever it is that I knew for that child made them feel good, go do that. And I don't even care if you get it done today. Just suspend all concern about it. Don't go do that with the idea that you're going to do it and then you're going to feel good and then it's all going to come together. Just go do it. Just go do it. Always works. Always works. Because it shifted them from the place of the problem to the place of solution. Like, I really feel like so much more these days that, there's an energy of problem and there's an energy of solution. And you can pick which one you want to be in. There's an energy of fear and an energy of love, right? And you get to pick which one you're in. And you cannot be in both at the same time. So sorry. You cannot, what's the Einstein quote? You can't solve a problem from the same level of thinking that created it, right? You have to choose one or the other. And so I love the idea that you can just think of a word that you love and use it and think about it and just like play around in your mind like you were a kid, just like dreaming out the window. And anyway, so I have been using the word magic because I love that word. It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel it's interesting to me. It's fascinating. It's light. It's playful. It's fun. It's powerful. It's intriguing. And so I thought, well, today I was like, since I've been talking about having a lunch with a magician or a glass of lemon water, which is what I'm always having, I said, let me look up magic, right? what does magic mean? And I could talk about it. And then I like got off there pretty quick because, whoa, that is a loaded word for a lot of people. You know, there are a lot of words. Sometimes love is a loaded word for people. Um, they're words that have so much energy and history and difficulty and argument behind them. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to talk about that just yet. We'll talk about that later. But if you do have thoughts about it or comments or things that you'd like to talk about it, again, like I would love to hear your input. So if you're watching live, you can comment, let me know. I can see your comments and chat with you. Or if you catch this on a replay, you can still comment or you can leave me a message or whichever, whatever, however you want to communicate. And you know, we can talk about it. Or if you want to hop on here with me one day and you have a lot of thoughts, I would love to sort of interview you or whatever, just talk and have a chat about it. But I think one of the biggest things for me that I did feel like rang true was in several of the definitions of magic. It said, you know, to use unseen, I don't know what it said, unseen forces. That sounds a little weird. To create something in the physical. And I do believe that we are always, I do believe we are more than a physical body, more than a physical world with tulips and a camera and a computer. There's something other than that that is me. And I am bringing this physical world into form. I do believe that. And I am constantly creating. I think it's shifting and changing all of the time. It's like our bodies, you know, every 7 years our bodies are completely new. And there's all kinds of random facts like that. But, you know, we are new in each day. We are new in each moment. We are constantly creating. It's just that most of us are recreating the same thing. We're recreating from our past. We're creating from our observation. We're creating from our expectation. We just don't know where we're creating from. Let's be honest, right? Like, you know, now, the exception to that, I think every single one of us has an area in our life. Now, you may be the one person in the world where, like, absolutely nothing has gone right for you. There may be somebody like that. That's entirely possible. But I think all of us do have probably an area in our life, even if it's a really small, what we consider small and insignificant area, in which things go well. Like, you might know somebody, it might be you, who money just works well for you. Like, money is not an issue. You're good at accounting, you're good at investing, you're good at making, you're good at budgeting, whatever it is. It's just easy for you, right? Could be relationships. You might be an easy friend, a friend that makes friends easily, and other relationships are easy for you. It could be your health. For some people, being healthy is very easy, eating well, parenting, teaching something. There's something, catching a cab, like whatever it is, right? There's probably something for you that you don't even think about. You don't really understand why other people struggle with you, and you're just not available for it to be difficult because you're only available for it to be easy, right? And I think that one of the keys to creating a world of our dreams, right, for ourselves and for all of us, is learning how to consciously take that ability that you have in the one area of life, or maybe in several areas of your life, and do it in the others, right? So, you know, for instance, like some people have trouble with like government. That's an issue for them, right? Like government regulation. I won't get too much into that, but let's just say like dealing with the DMV. I'm not going to talk about on a larger scale, but just like your own personal interactions, like you got to get a driver's license, you got to get a social security card, or whatever you're trying to do, passport, some sort of interaction, and they always have a difficult time, and it's a lot of red tape, and it's complicated, and things go wrong, and it gets hung up, and there's always delays, right? You know, people have that kind of stuff. I don't have that. I think I worked for the federal government for a large number of years. I worked for local governments, and I have a different set of beliefs about the government. Maybe it's the agency I worked for, but for me, the government is the people working to address things, and the people that I knew that worked in the government were always like so helpful and friendly and doing their best within a very large and bureaucratic and red tapey environment. So for me, when I go in there, I kind of have this energy about me that's, you know, I understand that things can move slowly, and I understand there can be hassles, but I also understand that it works for me. So I don't have those issues. or like say if you go through TSA at the airport, some people always have a problem, right? And I just don't usually have I don't have a problem. I have, certainly got a second pullover or whatever, but never delays me, never cost me my plane, never cost me anything. So that's sort of my energy about that. And so you probably have something like that in your life that, you see that other people have a problem with it, not really sure how to help them if they ask you about it, or you might even read about it, but you don't really understand it because it's not a space in which you operate. And so I titled this particular little chat today, to be or to do. And that is, I think one of the aspects of understanding how we can consciously create our dreams, consciously create our world. And there can be a lot of argument, about do I be something different? Do I do something different? Oh, well, you can't just sit around and be peaceful and loving and harmonious. You got to get out there and do, right? And then people will say, well, you can't just do all the time because then you're just doing, right? Particularly if you are in Western civilization, we're very good at doing, right? I think that's typically my MO, is to go do something. Like when I make a list for the day, it's what do I do? What am I doing? I look at my calendar. What am I doing? I have to really remember to say, who am I being? What am I being? How am I being? And I don't think you got to argue about it one way or the other. I think it's a flow. I think we do. I mean, I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I have a home. I have pets. I've got people to feed, things to move around, cars to address. I got plenty to do. Include take care of myself, right? There's plenty to do. And there's also a lot to be. And I think that I had a little bit of a shift in understanding last week. It was last week. I was headed into a little job I was working on, and I had this thought, okay, Jane, if all is well and everything is working out for me, yeah, right, all is well, everything is working out for me, I will get the things that I want, I will, this day is perfect unto me, like it is an absolute perfect setup and scenario for me to become the person that I want to be. Everything about it is just as it should be. And then I was like, oh, what do I do? And you know what? It changed my entire perspective on what do I put on my list? What am I doing today? And I think that's because mostly when I'm making my list of to do, it's from a place of quite possibly a place of problem, quite possibly a place of fear. I'm doing this, I'm going to the dentist so that my kids' teeth don't, rot out of their heads, right? Or I'm taking the car to this so that I continue to have good transportation, so that I can get the places I need to go, so that I can do the things that I need to do, right? It's always like you're sort of keeping something at bay, or you're filling up a hole, or you're addressing a problem like after it comes or before it comes. But if you put a line here, and this is everything going wrong, right? These are the problems. This is the fear. This life is not working out for me. And above here is this world is for me. This world is for you. This world is for all of us. There is plenty. There is enough, right? If we're operating from here up, it really changes what's on your to-do list. It might even turn it into a to-be list, right? It might turn it into a to-be list. And I think it takes a minute to think about, how would I be different if everything was working out for me? Like, well, I realized, now this doesn't work in the moment, right? I realized, well, I don't need to get upset if this happens. I don't need to be out frustrated. I don't need to be sad. I don't need to be happy, right? I mean, I can just be, right? But, if you're in the moment of something and you're like, I don't need to be upset about that, that's not going to work. So this is kind of like catching it before the momentum really builds. But, I had this thought that, wow, like I really have a place of choice if I can understand that it's all in favor of me, that like I am supported, I am loved, and I am cared for. And so I think that we all are usually telling ourselves stories about how life is going for us. We might say, I have a wonderful marriage and a terrible job that I hate going to, right? I mean, that's a story. You have a story that you're telling and I'm the same. I have some stories that I tell myself that are really great, and I have some stories that I tell myself that are like pretty daggone terrible. And a lot that are just kind of back and forth, a little energy this way, a little energy that way. But we can, I think, use the power of our word to declare the story that we wish to be true. And I invite you to look at the stories that you're telling, like today. Like, what stories are you telling about your life, about your dream? Well, let's just talk about your dream. If you're watching this, you're probably like me, and you may have a dream that's bigger than where you are right now and what you are right now. You probably, right? If you and I are connecting, that's probably the case. You see something could be better. You like the children to be fed. You would like the earthquake victims to be found and healed and made whole, right? You want your own life to be richer and fuller. And there's nothing to want more, to want better is human nature, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean you're not grateful. It doesn't mean you're not content. It doesn't mean you're not you shouldn't ask for this or have this or whatever. It means that life force is moving through you. And we are here to do and to be, and we are always expanding, right? Like, life is getting better. And so, if you're here and that's how you are, I would say start with your dream. And like, what if you declared like your dream is true, right? It's realized. It's happened. It is. I'm standing in the state of it becoming. I'm today I wake up and my day is the next step on the journey to my dream realized, right? Like, how is that different? If you can rest in the surety and the confidence that which you desire is already true. How would you be different? How would you do different? How would you react to the people in your life differently? How would you react to the situations that come up in your day differently? Would things bother you as much? Would you be able to see the blessings that are constantly there? Would you be in a more expanded, generous place? I think so. And I think when you exist in that place, you have more to give, and you are more. I heard the interesting little discourse yesterday. Was it yesterday? Monday night. Maybe it was Monday night. And it's still working in my mind. But it was the idea that you don't necessarily live up to your... you hear the idea of like living up to your potential, right? Live up to your potential, be your potential. Are you living up to it? Are you being it? Whatever. And the man that I was listening to said, it's Philip Carr-Gomm. If you've come across him, I really enjoy his thought process and the way that he approaches the world. And he said, living up to your potential can be burdensome, right? It creates a drivenness, and I've experienced this, and you probably have too. It's a drivenness. It's a going after it, and that can be exhilarating and life-giving and full of energy. But as he said, it can become burdensome. It can become exhausting. It can feel like you're swimming upstream and you're just never gonna get there, right? And he said this idea came to him that maybe you can't live up to your potential because it's not your potential. Maybe there is potential, yeah? There is the energy of that which is new, that which is yet created, that of our dreams and our desires, and you can live, well, this is my take, you can live in potential. That's my take on it. Or maybe you're living not in potential. Kind of like living in a problem, living in solution, living not in potential, living in potential. That expanded, amazing, excited, thrill, like when you have your dream and when you first catch it, that's like living in potential. And if you can bring more of that space into your day. And here is something that my daughter did yesterday that made me realize a simple thing that I can do to do that. So if one of the you'll see a lot people talk about having like a vision board, or sit down and make a treasure map, or visual images can be very powerful. You can cut them, you can color them, you can draw them, you can write words, but to make a picture of how you want your life, your world, your career, your partnership, your whatever it is that you are looking to realize something new and more and better in, make a visual picture of it and put it up somewhere and look at it, and that's pretty powerful. These days everybody's got a phone, right? And so I did like a lot of people, and I put some picture on my, okay, this is really funny, my kids, I always call it a screensaver because I'm old. I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to call it a screensaver. On your lock screen or your home screen on your phone, then you have this vision, and the idea is like, kind of you're impressing stuff into your subconscious. And then people say advertisers do it all the time, right? It's the reason we can all sing Coke songs and McDonald's stuff and everything like that, because these things are always playing in the background of our life, and they're impressing upon our subconscious. But this is a funny thing that happened yesterday. Monday, we were driving, we had a little bit of a drive, and my daughter had my phone, and my first thought was like, oh great, because she has her own phone. And I was like, what is she doing with my phone? She's probably running down the battery. She's looking through this and that. And I was like, she's scrolling through photos. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I just turned away and thought about something else. And then later, she handed me my phone, and she said, you can change this if you don't like it. But I made your lock screen like a slideshow of photos. I went through your photos and found some nice ones and made a lock screen. If you don't like it, you can just change it back to the old one. I was like, okay. So I'm like, okay, Mom, don't be a jerk. But then I looked at the photos, and this is what caught my eye. They were beautiful. They were beautiful photos of, I would say, our life in the past year. And there weren't any people in it because my daughter's 12 and, my son's 13, and nobody in my family likes their picture taken particularly. So, but I looked through the photos. Now, a few were a couple screen captures of something I thought was cute or funny or cool. But they were things that we had done, places we had been, animals we had seen, a raccoon that was back up in our tree recently. And here's the thought that I had. Whoa, Jane, you've had something on your lock screen of something that is apart from me, because it's something that I want, but it is not yet mine. And it can create a space, a gap, a longing, and us living in longing and wanting. And what she showed me is I can put something on there that shows I already have, I already am, I already be these beautiful things. And so I think that kind of fits in with the being and the doing. That's one way that you can actively do something to be more. So if there's something that you're looking to create in your life or for your dream, and you're always putting it out there, you're seeing it as out there, you're seeing it as when you are there, when you have that, when you be that. That is a gap in time and space that you're saying is there. That's why affirmations are, we're getting a little long today, but okay, I'm almost done. That's why affirmations always say, I am, right? Because you're bringing that energy into your present space, because you are only right here, right now. You cannot be in the past, you cannot be in the future. You can only be right here. So you want to bring that thing, realization of that thing here where you are. And if you can learn to see that which you want in your current life, you already have it. And again, everything is working out for you. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do, nobody else to be but you. And when you can relax into that space, it comes. And I think that that's a new take on how to be the energy of that which you're creating. You can look in your life and see evidence of where you already have it. You want a new home, right? Look for evidence of where it is already in your life. A lot of times it will show up in a friend may have it. I've heard that described as driftwood. If you're getting close to shore, you'll see driftwood. You may see it in a friend or a family member, or maybe even a stranger. Somebody else will have that thing that you want. If you feel jealous, if you start to feel insecure, if you start to feel or get triggered, whatever, take a minute, see if you can remember to pause. that's for me. I'm seeing that because that's for me. I'm seeing that. Learn to recognize the signs of where in your life you already have, you already be, you're already doing that which you want to have, be, and do. And it will grow. Yeah, it will grow. And that's a really cool thing. Okay. Well, I've been talking for a long time. I guess I had a lot to say today. I wish you a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll chat next week, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Love to hear your thoughts on it all. You totally don't agree with me. You think I'm whack. You do agree with me. You're interested in more topics. I'd love to hear it. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk soon.